Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Los Def, and I am here with another episode. If you're new to the channel, I need y'all to hit that subscribe button. I need y'all to hit the like button. I need y'all to share the content. Leave a comment. The shorts are coming, but we got long form content as well. Like, all those shorts come from somewhere, right? All those shorts that have been bubbling up, they come from somewhere, and they come from these full length episodes. And I need y'all to, show some support. Shout out to the platform, though, man. Overall, celebrate. It's a cause for celebration because we finally hit 1,000 subscribers. It has been a long journey, man. It's been a long journey. We've been at this. We're not quite at 3 years yet, but so we've been at this for almost 3 years. And this is what I'll say in terms of content creation. Anybody that creates content, right? Whether you make music, whether you, I don't know, any type of digital content that you create, people learn. This is what people learn quickly, is that the YouTube, getting on YouTube and then getting subscribers on YouTube. Although it should be the easiest thing. You would think that YouTube is the easiest thing because YouTube is not as intrusive, right? Like, you only go to YouTube when you want to watch something, right? Like, you don't just, like, social media. Sometimes we scroll mindlessly through social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, right? Like, we scroll mindlessly. So, like, that's like a major part of our lives. YouTube is for if you really want to watch something. Maybe you are seeking some type of information. For some people, YouTube is their TV. Like, that's all they do is watch YouTube. And you would think, though, that getting a subscriber is easy because it's like, all you gotta do is just hit the check, right? Like if I follow you on Instagram or if I follow you on TikTok, I'm gonna get a lot of your stuff on my feed. Now, you do have like a feed on YouTube, but like, it's easy to kind of just, like, if you're not watching the videos, if you're watching your other stuff, like, that stuff is gonna, show up. But like, you might have like a whole list of things that you subscribe to that, you may or may not check out. And you would think that, like, oh, it's not that hard to just hit the subscribe button and then everybody's gonna do it. Or when you tell people to subscribe, they're gonna automatically do it. No, it doesn't really work like that. But to the people that do subscribe, they want to see your content, repeatedly, and so on and so forth. So you would think it's easy, but it is difficult, right? I know a lot of rappers that they can get some, they might get their streams up, and they're on United Masters, and they're making moves. But then those YouTube videos, unless you have good music videos that are reaching beyond your, like, local audience, it's hard even for, like, people that make music to get their subscribers. So we reached 1,000 subscribers, and I'm happy and proud. I feel like now, the work doesn't stop, though. Like, just because you hit that's only one like milestone. That's only one stepping stone. But now I feel like now that we have the subscriber base, now, that's the one check mark to get into the partner program, or the monetization. That's one step of monetization. But now we got to keep people here. Like, we got to keep people on the screen. We got to get the watch hours up. But now I feel like we can take some risk, and we can experiment, and we could do some different type of things with the content. So we're not gonna get away from what people love, and things like that, but we are going to try to ramp it up a little bit, and again, keep people on the platform, keep people returning. All right, those returning guests, or those returning users. That's what you want. You want that returning audience, and that's what we're gonna kind of pump up. So thank you. If you watch the platform at any capacity, whether it is the full length episodes, whether you listen to it, whether you um just watch the shorts, I appreciate everything. I appreciate all the comments. I try to engage and comment back. And we could debate a little bit. I got people that disagree with me, and that's fine. Like, we welcome all that type of stuff. It's all content, it's all engagement, and we're just trying to keep the community going. We're trying to keep the movement going. So that was that, man. So this week, this week we gonna talk a little bit about some sports, man. Hopefully get a little bit of previews. I know we're kind of a little bit late with recapping what happened in the divisional playoffs, and now we're into the conference championship games. But kind of just talking about what this means for the league, but also for these teams and players that are still in it. Like we got some legacies that could be built in these next couple weekends. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk, but then also we have like a couple different things that have gone viral, some conversations that we're gonna have. Some of these things you may have seen online, some of these things you may not have seen online. So we're gonna start with that. So first things first, first things first, there was a list, right? There was a list of top 10 rappers that fell off, right? Top 10 rappers that fell off. So this list kind of went viral and we can go down the list, and there's some people on this list. I'll tell you this: there's some people on this list that I've never listened to. There's some people that I used to listen to. There's some people I still listen to on this list. So, and we could kind of critique it a little bit. So, let's run down the list. Let's run down the list, and this is gonna be something we're gonna put this list on the screen, so you guys can see it as well. So, top 10 rappers that fell off. So at number one, it says top 10, but then they put 11. They put 11, be weird. So let's read these 11 names. All right. So let's go. Let's start with number 11. Number 11 is Polo G, right? So I remember when Polo G first came out, when I first started hearing Polo G, I think that was like more like 2015, 2016, 2017. Like, and he was moving. He was getting stuff going. Chicago rapper. He's not somebody that I would listen to like for like album purposes. Like he's not a rapper that I would listen to and I would say, "Oh, yo, I want to hear his album." But he did have some cool songs. To speak on his fall off, I would say that it's been quiet for him. I don't know if like his career, I wouldn't say since I don't listen to him enough, I can't say that his career fell off, but it has been quiet and I have not heard from him. So, and I think that's this what consists as a fall off is a fall off based off of having peak popularity and then you're not popular anymore, right? Is it based off of like your skills? Like, have your skills diminished, right? That's dumb because that's a fault. Like a fall off to me is you was hot, you're not hot no more, but then you can't get hot again. That's a fall off to me. Like a fall off is where you can't get hot again. Like you're dead in the water. Like nobody is checking for you. It don't matter what you pull out. Like that's a fall off to me. There's a lot of guys like industry is brutal. The industry is brutal to these artists. So it's hard to stay on top, right? And then sometimes the reason why guys are quiet are for outside reasons. Sometimes it is artistic. Like some of these guys, like they hit a wall and they just can't make music anymore. So Polo G, he's young, so I can't, and I don't know if he's. I think he's had some guys have legal troubles. We talking about rap here. We talking about hip hop. So, especially this generation, old generations too, but like guys get in trouble all the time, and it makes it stalls their careers and it makes it hard for them to keep things moving, right? So Polo G, I don't want to say that he fell off, but we'll see. Meek number 10 is Meek Mill. Now, and again, I'm assuming that they're ranking these based off of the number one is going to be the top fall off. Now, Meek is Meek is his own worst enemy. Like Meek sometimes is his own worst enemy because he's vocal online and people like to kind of engage with him, but Meek gets into these pockets of social media engagement where he goes off the deep end, right? And people, sometimes they criticize him. They think he a little bit weird, like some of the things that he says, or it just comes off away. And so we can't really get a read on Meek. But to say fall off, I don't think his skill has fall off. He just had an album that came out with Rick Ross. Now, is that album doing what those two men like expected it to do? Maybe not, but also I haven't heard much promotion. And that's the thing, man. It's just a lot of with artists, they're putting this music out and there's no promotion. Like I heard the Shaq and Kobe song and I know the album came out. I personally, which I like Rick Ross and Meek Mill, I feel shamed that I have not wanted to even listen to it. Like I have not checked for that album, but like some of it is marketing. Like it's not in my face. It's not like there's no campaigns that are like hitting me like to make me go there. So I don't know if it's the I don't know if now like artists like Meek Mill and Rick Ross, although they've had label ties, I don't know if like they're making music like that off of their own dime, out of their own pocket, just their own movement, their own, they're pushing their own stuff. But like I don't think they're doing a great job. Even though it felt like there was like a rollout up until this album, but like since the album has dropped, which I think the album dropped in late November, early December but I think that might be too early, but I think it dropped in like November. But I haven't heard anybody really pushing it. One of my man Uncle Rob, he be listening to tracks and he played a couple, and I'm like, okay, like there are some good tracks on there, but I have not checked for it. So to say Meek fell off, maybe from his peak, sure. Like he's not where he was, but like to say fall off, I don't know. I think if Meek dropped a solo album right now and with a proper rollout, I think I think a lot of people would be checking for it still. And the thing is he stays relevant. Like even though we might not like some of the social media stuff he says, or he might rub people the wrong way, that keeps him engaged. Like we know what Meek Mill is doing because of him posting, right? All right. Number 9 is Roddy Rich. Now, ooh, Roddy is my boy. So I remember this was a couple years ago, right? This was when the podcast had first started. It was like episode 5. I was talking to my man Jose Perfecto and then his cousin Tone, right? And I was naming I was naming my for me who was my top 3 rappers, right? And I'm talking about in the game, right? Like at currently in the game. And I said, and it was a little bit of favorites, whatever, but I'm talking about like consistently, like they don't miss, like they haven't been missing. They've been making great music, and they're just kind of like they're the most sought after artists, whether it's for features, whether it's their own music, and people just wanting to see them, concerts, all that. So I had said in no particular order, but I said Lil Baby, I said Roddy Rich, and I said Travis Scott. And so, Roddy Rich, man, Roddy Rich was like hotter than fish grease, man. So I'm trying to think, when did his first album come out? His actual first album. Let's see. Roddy Rich discography. Let's see, discography, discography. Let's come on, give me this. Come on. All right, Roddy. Okay, so please excuse me. So that was like his official first album. Please excuse me for being antisocial. That dropped at the end of 2019, but that album kind of stretched into 2021, right? And then his sophomore album came out in 2021 and it was a flop. Like it was a flop. He didn't do what we expected him to do. It did not get the same traction. And then he dropped the album in 2022, which was Feed the Streets Part 3. And it had a couple songs on there, but it wasn't what it was, right? And even in 2021, when I'm talking about him being, he was still getting features and he was doing things like he had like a lot of motion. Does he have the same motion that he has? Hell no, right? Like for him being somebody that I thought like he was gonna go. Like I thought like he was out of here. Like he was gonna go and he's gonna be, West Coast rapper, different, he like almost the type of rapper that you got a whole coast that can be behind you, right? Like you got a whole section of America that's like kind of untapped, so to speak when in terms of rap, in terms of popularity too. And I'm like, man, you got a chance to kill it. Is he there? No, no, he's not there. I think, he is a younger guy. He is a younger guy. I think if he hones in and if he has a good feature, or I think he needs a song to come out with a good feature, good sound. I think he got away from his sound a little bit. So when he dropped his first album, it was hot. The mixtape that came out before that, Feed the Streets 2, was a classic. That's a classic to me. That's a classic. His first album, some people might call that a classic. I don't know how much some of those songs are going to be played beyond, in the next like 10 years, but he had a lot of good music. Is he on that level? I don't know, but I think that he can come back. So like for me, like again, if I'm defining a fall off is you're not as popular as you was, your skill has diminished, and you can't come back. Like if I'm using that criteria, I wouldn't say he fell off, but he is it's quiet. It is quiet for Roddy Rich. So and for some people, a fall off is just being quiet. So like yeah, I think he belongs on this list. He belongs on this list, and maybe that's some motivation. And he's actually the pitcher on this list too. They make him the pitcher, so that might be some motivation for him to get going. All right, number 8 is the baby. Now the baby, I think he fell off because of like if there is a fall off, it's because he got into some, he got into like a media war, and he said some things about certain communities that that definitely hurt his reputation, and it made things quiet for him. It made things quiet. I think the baby part of his issue as well is that a lot of people started the narrative started going around that like, yo, he makes the same song, like he makes the same music, everything sounds the same, he got the same pockets of flows. The baby is really talented though. Like he's really talented. Like, and it's funny because okay, so there's another Lil Baby's on this list too. I actually think he's more talented. He probably is more talented than Lil Baby. Um, but I don't know. I think he's put out some quality. Like I've seen some videos recently, like some of the music that he's put out, like the rapping that he has. I would say that it's good, and I think that he can kind of get back into to good graces. Fall off from his popularity, sure. Like he's definitely fall off from like where he was, and he's not like because he was hot. He was hotter than fish grease. Like everybody, he was sought after by everybody. But again, what I mean, some of the things that he said, like when you say certain things in the like when you're famous, you just can't say certain things in the media, or you cannot. What it is it's not that you can't say certain things, you can have opinions, but when you alienate pockets and pieces of because those people probably were his audience too, and he said something about, it was something about like people getting AIDS and dudes, doing stuff to each other in the parking lot and stuff like that. So like there might have been men, gay men that were like, listening to his music, and then, you know, just maybe like group think. Sometimes you get group think. You get a couple people that's saying like, oh yeah, I don't want to mess with him, or I'm canceling him. And then yeah, you get group think, and then a whole pocket of your audience is kind of gone. So would I say fall off? Yeah, I would say he kind of belongs on here, to an extent. And again, that's one of those things like Roddy Rich being on a list like this. And this ain't nobody who, I don't know if whoever made this, it ain't necessarily they got credibility, but it's just um, it's just something that might motivate somebody. Like, oh, if this is going viral and this is what people think, I'm about to turn up for y'all. But like, he had this one video where he's like dressed as the Joker, and I think that was like last year. He's actually rapping. He's rapping really well on there. Like it's with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is on the track. Like it's a good song. It's good rapping. It's good bars. So like his skill has not diminished. Right? He might be better than he was actually, but his popularity is down. So like I wouldn't call it a fall off, but like again, he could be a little bit higher on the list. Or he not higher on the list. He could definitely be working a little bit more, and he can get that popular. I think he can get that popularity back. So a true fall off, no. Designer, designer, a one hit wonder is not a like you didn't like if you like you didn't fall off. If you're a one hit wonder, you didn't fall off. You just really never was, or you're just a one hit wonder. He had a couple different songs that kind of made some waves, but like Panda, is that 2015, 2016, 2015? Like I don't even think like we should waste time putting a guy like designer on a list because he's never he but again, this is the criteria. So skill diminished, right? I don't think anybody thinks he could rap. Um Lost popularity, he been did that. And then can he come back up? Hell no, he can't. Like designer is dead in the water. Like he's dead in the water. Nobody is checking for him. He's getting arrested for, doing stuff to himself on airplanes. Like he's making headlines for stuff like that, but like he's not making music. Nobody's checking for him. All right. Lil Pump, another guy. Nobody is checking for Lil Pump music. The little kids were the young kids, pre-teens. They were checking for Lil Pump, but like Lil Pump was never that. So like, do we want to say fall off? I guess he had a little popularity run, but like skill, he never really had skill. Can he be popular again? No, he can't. So yeah, so he maybe he belongs on this list. Rich Homie Quan. I don't see Rich Homie Quan. That is like it's quiet. I actually don't know what happened to Rich Homie Quan. And because I'm not super familiar with his lane now. Him and Young Thug kind of came in together, around the same time. They kind of came in together. They was making music together too. And Rich Homie Quan was probably more popular than Young Thug, and I think part of it was because like we can actually kind of understand a little bit more of what Rich Homie Quan was saying. Rich Homie Quan had joints in the club, like he had some bops. And yeah, I would say that like I don't know if he can't rap anymore. I don't know if he has some personal things going on. I don't know if like there's some industry things going on. But like, yeah, I guess I mean I think yeah, he definitely fell off. Like fell off from people liking him, and then like he just kind of disappeared though. I just feel like he was more of like a disappearing act. NBA YoungBoy fall off. I don't know. I don't listen to NBA YoungBoy. He's number 4, NBA YoungBoy. I don't listen to NBA YoungBoy enough to know. I think that he still has that rabid fan base that he's always had. So like I can't really speak to say that he's fallen off. I don't, you know what I mean? I think the young boys still fuck with him. So Lil Baby. I think Lil Baby belongs on this list, man, because his peak was so Lil Baby was hot, also hotter. He was one of those guys that was hotter than fish grease, and it felt like from when he first came out to when he got to his peak, it felt like his rapping ability got. I felt like his rapping ability got better. I always like Lil Baby songs. I seen him in concert in 2022. I seen him in concert. He opened up for he was touring. He was co-headlining the tour with Chris Brown. And I say this, I never want to see Lil Baby in concert again. Like it's like I realize I like Lil Baby, but I don't listen to him enough to like really bop at a concert. He is like that stigma where people got like call people mumble rappers. He definitely is in that category, and it's horrible hearing that stuff live and at full volume, because you really cannot discern and decipher half of the things that he's saying. Like you really can't. He makes some good bops. I feel like the little Lucy's that he's been putting out recently, like the most recent thing I heard was like that crazy, and there was another one. It just don't got the same feel. I feel like his peak was when that documentary about him came out. Like he was peaking, and then that documentary came out, and then like somebody said that he fell off. It was Le'Veon Bell, which I didn't know Le'Veon. Le'Veon Bell might be a big music head. He might even make music for all I know. But he said that the reason why Lil Baby fell off is because Lil Baby came at Gunna and he made people choose between Gunna and Lil Baby, and he's saying a lot of people chose Gunna. Maybe there y'all look into that. Like, is there any validity to that? I don't know. I don't know. But I would say the quality of his music has fallen off. His ability is in question, and he's not as popular as he was. So yeah, that's a fall off. Quando Rondo, I never heard a single song. Wasn't he involved in the King Von stuff? Like, I don't, to some degree. I never heard a Quando Rondo song, so I can't speak on that. And then Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda was a one hit wonder. Bobby Shmurda being at number one, I don't know if that's fair to Bobby Shmurda. Now, Bobby Shmurda did a lot of years. He just got out a couple years ago, and he had one or two hits. People would really say one hit, but people will give him a second hit, right? Um, I haven't even heard Bobby on any tracks. Like I don't think Bobby was a rapper. Like to be like I don't think he was really serious about this rapping stuff. I think he caught one, and then, now that he's in the industry, I think that's the thing too. I think we got to realize, man, when you get on, just like when you play, just say if this is I'm gonna use this as an analogy, right? So like, making it to the end, like being an athlete, right? Making it to the professional athlete, athletics, whether it's NBA, MLB, NFL, right? Sometimes the goal, obviously your goal is to be a superstar, going to the Hall of Fame, but like playing sports, even at the college level, it opens up doors for you that would never be open to you before, right? And there are other jobs, there are other careers in these spaces, right? So music is not quite the same, but at the same time, you still get doors open for you that would never be open for you. So like Bobby Shmurda might always keep some money in his pocket because he can make appearances. Nobody was paying him to make appearances before. He could probably do some stuff with TV. He could do, he could rub shoulder. He's rubbing shoulders with people. So like, I'm still seeing him like he's still a celebrity, but like music wise, I don't even know if he makes music anymore. I haven't heard any music. Since he's been out, there hasn't been any like true effort to make any music because I don't think anybody really believes in his ability. So like fall off, sure, we could call it a fall off, but like I would say he was a one hit wonder. Just like I think he's in the same category as designer, where he wasn't like a great rapper to begin with. He caught a single, we liked it, and then certain things got in his way that cut his time short. So we couldn't see if what kind of artist he really was. But obviously he hasn't done anything. So maybe it is valid, but like I think calling it a fall off is almost a little bit too generous, right? Because I think he was just like again a one hit wonder. So, what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think about that list? Is there anybody else that belongs on that list? Is there anybody else that belongs on the list? Like, here's the thing: I would call like Kanye, like if we making an actual list of artists that have been like that are still pretty current, but it seems like their music just don't hit the same. With Kanye going in a category like that, I would argue that, like Wale kind of fell off, Big Sean fell off. Those are guys that are really skilled, and then like it's quiet for them. I don't know if their ability has diminished, but like I don't know if they can get back on. Like I don't know if Big Sean can get back on like he was on. Like he's made albums like when he made Detroit 2, like that was quiet for him. When Wale made Forlorn 2, that was relatively quiet for him. So like would I say that I would say that they fall into that fall off category a little bit. There's probably some others too from that era. It's funny because the guys from Top Dog Entertainment, like TDE, they don't we don't consider them to have fallen off, but like they are super quiet and like we haven't heard anything. Like we haven't heard anything from J Rock. We haven't heard anything from Schoolboy Q since like 2019. J Rock since like 2018. Reason, I haven't heard anything from Reason. I haven't heard anything from Sir. So like I would like for me that's like kind of on some fall off, but like I think their ability still can raise them. So, but who do you think belongs on a list like this? Leave a comment below and chime in. Okay. All right, next topic. Next topic. Let's move on. We was on that for a little bit. All right. So I got a little video to kind of share with y'all. So and this is something I actually seen a little bit ago, but I want y'all perspective on this and what do y'all agree? Is the guy making some sense here? Or is it is this something that you even like realized prior? So have you ever I'm a preface this. I'm gonna preface this. So like have you ever just, as once you became an adult, did you ever realize like some people just are off? Like, or just some people just don't have certain cues that you have, or some people are just, like when you get into the workforce and you're an adult and you're just outside, you like you notice, some people just ain't as normal. And I don't want to go too crazy and call them weirdos, but there are some weirdos out there. There are some people that are just unintelligent and like struggle with like basic comprehension, right? And that frustrates a lot of people. That makes people upset. That makes people angry. But you ever think about this perspective here? Let's take a listen.
Bro, I say this all the time, but let me remind y'all, bro. When school was over, when high school was done, they just freed all the special ed kids out into the world, didn't tell us who was who or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Our whole lives in school, we were separated. We knew who were who. We knew, all right, if they get the tripping, don't even pay them no mind, they special ed, you know what I'm saying? After high school, they let them out into society, and we don't know, bro. So when somebody trying you, just remember, they probably them. That's probably them right there, bro. Don't let them, you know what I'm saying?
When you get into a situation, altercation, argument, or just in society, and like people just don't know how to be human. Like, do you feel like have you felt that way? He's saying like, yo, those people might be special ed. Now, that's funny because society don't look the same as it did, right? Because here's the thing: when I was in school, when I was in high school and K through 12, right? Those kids were like they were essentially separated. I think people don't realize now is that like that stopped, right? Like there are still special education is still a thing, right? However, kids are integrated with each other now, right? And basically what happens is like these, kids that are special education or learning support, they have these IEPs, they have these um individualized education plans that are geared to kind of give them certain help, to give them certain accommodations, to give them certain modifications, right? Like, and it's for them. What I would say though is that, oh, okay. What I would say is that there are people, there are a lot of older adults, right? What I'm noticing this is that there's a lot of older adults that have like went that are probably on the spectrum that went undiagnosed, right? And you can kind of tell just by the social cues. There are adults too that they probably were in some of those classes, and they struggle, like they struggle mentally, they might have delays, they might have comprehension issues. And these are the people that are like running fast food restaurants. These are the people that are managers of like of convenience stores. These are the people that might be um taking care of your loved ones in nursing homes, in certain roles. And so, like, I do feel what he's saying. I do feel what he's saying because, like, yeah, you wouldn't know. You would not know. Like, I went to school with guys that, like, they was in them classes our whole lives, right? Like they never was in regular classes or like college prep classes or honors classes, AP class. They was never in those classes, but they was always like separated. And then like, in the streets, they was like big time hustlers. And I always wonder like how that works because it's like, well, maybe you wasn't good at math, but like did you get better with money and knowing your numbers now that you out of school? Or is it just, are you more able to kind of adapt to real life, right? So like again, there were like some star athletes that, that I went to school with that was in them classes, man. They was in them classes. And then, it seemed like they were able to kind of function as adults. I don't know. Like I don't know if it stops everybody's motion. Now the people that like have, other issues, whether it's anger or emotional issues, and they don't know how to kind of rein it in. Maybe he does have a point there. Maybe he does have a point there. But like I just want to know, I kind of want to know where he's kind of going with that. But I can see that though. I can see that. It'd be funny though too. Like if you're dating a woman or something like that, or a woman's dating a guy, and then you just realize like, damn, like you just don't have the same executive functioning that a normal adult should have. You might want to ask them some questions about what their high school experience was, and if they say like they was in small classes, or like they had a teacher that like would keep track, they had one teacher that would keep track of them the whole time. Yeah, they probably nowadays you might have to ask like, yo, did you know what I mean? You, you know, did you have like a IEP or did you have like anything special? You know, and that's the thing too. IEP don't mean that you slow or anything like that. It's just like you learn, it just means that you learn differently. And then like, you know, people are trying to get you help to get you on track. Some people it's worse than others, and they need severe, like they have severe delays or severe gaps in their learning. But other people it's just like, you know, they might have concentration issues, they might have bad organization and executive function, and their fault, like their grades are falling off, and they it takes them a little bit longer. So but you know, some people it might take them a little bit longer to just comprehend what you got going on or what you're trying to say. So it's something to think about. But like I don't know if we should necessarily chastise everybody, but hey, you know, intellect is not universal. Like everybody does not have the same intellect. Everybody does not have the same experiences and understanding of life. Like, it just that's just what it is, right? All right, so let's move let's move on to another one. So all right, so we got another video. So this one is interesting because I want your opinion on this. And I want y'all to like tell me, is Shorty overreacting, or did she just, you know, did she set certain boundaries for herself that just work for her, and that we need to just accept that. All right. So let's take a look here. I just wanted to get that kind of set up. So we're gonna go back to Twitter. All right. So let's see this Shorty right here.
What he made his female friend. This is a cheeseburger.
Okay. All right. So is she overreacting? All right. So she's talking about a man that she just started kind of talking to, and um he he expressed to her that he made some meals. Like I guess this guy can cook. He made some meals, and but it's interesting who he made these meals with and like the context of these meals. So we got a little bit to watch here, but then what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of chime in and talk about it, and then we actually got a response video as well. So we're gonna check that out also. All right, so let's and hopefully is the sound shit.
Serious question. What would you do if the guy that you
Okay, hold on. I just want to make sure the sound was shared. Okay, we're gonna put it to this though. All right, here we go.
were seeing made serious question. What would you do if the guy that you were seeing made a female friend dinner at his place, like an elaborate dinner? I'm dying. Okay, so this is what he made his female friend. This is a cheese board. I have no idea what this is, but he made that. Some pasta. The pasta looks amazing. This looks absolutely amazing, not gonna lie. And he even plated it. He plated it. He was like, oh, I made something, and sent me all these pictures, and I was just wowed. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks beautiful. Oh, but then naturally I'm like, oh, like, were you on a date? And that's completely fine. Like, you're not my man, you know, we're not together, we're just talking. So if he was, which clearly, like, this is a date, but that's completely fine, you know, we're not together. This guy was like, oh no, I just cook like this for, you know, my friends all the time, you know, whether it's men or women. I made it for my friend, and he named off some woman's name. I don't want to be talking to someone or dating someone who feels like they need to spend one-on-one time with someone in a very intimate way. This is like extremely intimate. It's almost performing for someone. So yeah, I just wouldn't want my potential someone or my boyfriend or my husband doing something like all of this for another woman. Went on talking about like that we're not together, but like I would want my person to trust me and this and that. But it doesn't come down to trust. It goes down to him not knowing boundaries, because it's if you're doing stuff like this, what else are you doing for your female friends? To me, that's just red flags all over the place, and it just shows that there's a lack of boundaries. So I just ended up messaging him back, just letting him know that that's not something that I'm personally okay with, and there's plenty of women out there who would be okay with it, but I'm just not one of them. Here's the thing, everyone is different. There's gonna be women out there who are like, that's completely fine. I feel secure in myself. I feel confident about my man, and I trust him and this and that. That's completely fine. And again, it's not about trust for me. It's just boundaries. I want there to be very, very clear boundaries if I'm talking to someone, and I want them to know like what's appropriate and what isn't appropriate. What do you guys think?
When this first dropped, right? When I first seen it, and I ain't gonna lie, like I'm on her side, all right. And this I'm gonna explain. But the first thing I seen, it was men. This was men, you know what I mean? And I might be, a traitor, or I might be, on the other side for whatever reason. People might look at me as a op. However, there was a lot of men that was saying, oh, she's tripping, oh, she's insecure, oh, this and that. And here's the thing. When you just start talking to somebody, right? It is your prerogative to cut them off for whatever reason you want, right? Like if you don't have anything established, like you don't have to kind of wait around. If something don't look right, right? And you have a conversation, the thing is we don't want to change people, right? And we talk about that all the time. Men always argue that we don't they don't want women to change them, right? So a lot of times men, we want women to just kind of like acquiesce and just like be cool with whatever we doing, because we don't want them to change us. However, right, it's your prerogative to say like, no, I'm not going to change. Like what she's saying is like, yo, I'm not going to change who you are. That's what you do. I'm cool off of that. I'm a stay back. I'm gonna stay back. Now, for the men that was saying that she was tripping, let's flip the scenario, right? If I started talking to some chick, right, and she talking about how she cooks, right, and she showed me these videos, and like she doing all this, and I'm like, damn, whatever. She doing all this, and I'm noticing it's only like it's, and she's like, yeah, I made this for a male friend of mine, like me, yeah, me and a male friend of mine made this. I ain't accepting that. I'm like, your male friend. Like what? This elaborate dinner? Like you made a meal just for this man? Like y'all just had this time together where you plated it and it was all this. I agree with the shorty. Like I'm thinking like this is pretty intimate. This is pretty personal. Like cooking takes when a woman cooks for a man, she trying to get to his soul, right? She trying to get to his heart. So like, can you cook? Can men and women be friends? Sure, they can be friends, but there's like levels and there's certain things. And she read the signs and she thought like, yo, this is like a little bit too elaborate. There's a little bit too much care there, and I'm cool for that. So for the men that said that she was tripping, would you be cool if you start talking to a chick and she's told you that like she made this elaborate, 4-course meal for her and one of her male friends? Would you accept that? I couldn't accept that. And here's the thing: I don't care if she's a chef or not. Like I don't care if that's what she does. If she's a chef or she's in the culinary arts, like no, tell me that it was a group of friends or something like that. Tell me like you do dinner parties, but like don't tell me like you did this for like a single male friend. Like I just think that is. And then there's a couple questions I have. Did she ask him about cooking? Like, did he send her these videos unprompted, or did she say, "Hey, can you cook?" And then he was like, "Oh, what? I got this video here, got this video here," and then he's like, "Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I just made this for my female, yeah, me and my girl, me and my home girl, whatever her name is. I made this for her, and it was a good time." You know what I mean? Cause then yeah, like if he send it unprompted, it's like, okay, that's weird. But if he even told her the whole story, you're gonna be kind of thinking like I'm gonna be on her page. I'm gonna be on the same time. Like, what you man, like this dude is hitting that. Like if a woman told me this, I'm gonna think like this dude is hitting that. That's what she's probably thinking. She's thinking like, yo, he definitely smashed, right? So here we go though. Here we go. So people that are like, "Oh, okay, that was just a friend. Maybe she's into cooking. That's not that serious. Y'all getting all worked up for nothing." So let's take a look here. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the response, because this is the friend. Now, and then there's a couple red flags here with this incident here, or this scenario here. We're gonna talk about this red flag here that I got. So share the screen. All right, here we go. We're going. Here we go.
Dick for dessert is crazy, but let's clear it up, y'all. Just like everybody else, when I
Oh
saw her
yeah,
video
let's go
last
back.
night,
Let's go. Hold
I
on,
was
time out. Let's go
shocked.
back. Let's go back to that. He said made a little
Dick
something.
for dessert is crazy.
Okay, so this is the friend. This is the female friend that he made the dinner for. Now, I think this exchange is between the first woman and the man. So he's like, made a little something. Wow, bravo, looks amazing. And dick for dessert. And then she said, "Was this a Netflix date?" LOL, I wish. So that's a wild thing to say because if you tell me at the end that you made this for a friend, I might go back into the messages and think like, wait a minute, time out. This nigga said that he get this nigga said something about dick for dessert. Unless he sent her this and she was like, he was telling her like, yo, I could do this for you. He was like, and dick for dessert. And then she's laughing. But this is the friend saying what she got to say.
Dick for dessert is crazy, but let's clear it up, y'all. Just like everybody else, when I saw her video last night, I was shocked. And so I decided to ask him what was really going on. So, of course, I ended up confronting him and I said, "Why would you tell her dick for dessert when it was nothing like that?" He said it's out of context and she had sent a dick for dessert thing earlier. Y'all can read the rest. So I end up sending him the TikTok that she had made and I let him know, like, the way she presented it was different. Here's the rest. Y'all can read. And I let it be known that since I didn't know that there was an inside joke beforehand, I felt that the comment was crazy because it implies that he gave me some beef for dessert when
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
exactly.
So here's the rest of what he said.
Okay, let's look at that real quick. Let's look at that. We gotta rewind that a little bit. All right. So let's look at it. He says the inside joke beforehand, D for dessert is crazy because it implies that you gave me that for dessert. Also, this is an exchange between him and the friend. He says, I agree. Obviously, that wasn't what I meant, but out of context, it has an entirely different meaning than if you knew she had sent me the dick dessert pics before. What the fuck? I don't really want to put any energy towards her and what she's saying. I'm done with her, and she's clearly got something all off with her, and is just using this anyway she can to get likes on social media. It's kind of sad for her. In hindsight, it was probably a bad idea for you to reply to her and even give her that much attention when she doesn't deserve it. I really don't care at all what she or her followers think. All right, so this is him. This is the guy going back and forth with this friend.
He said, and yeah. Also, I only knew that they were talking for 2 weeks and never met in person because when the original video was sent to me, I sent it to him and we had a phone call conversation about it, and that's when he told me all that. And I only made that video response because the people that know me sent me her original video and asked if that was my food. But yeah, what y'all want to see me cook next?
Okay, so this is not the video that I thought it was. So there was a video, and I might be able to find it real quick, but there was a video of her basically giving the response, and she says that, oh, like, we're really into cooking, and she admits that they cooked that food together, right? So let me see if I got it. I might got it in like my likes or something like that. Um, so she admits that they did some of this cooking together, right? They did some of this cooking together. And that did not make a lot of people, that did not make them feel better about the situation. It actually made people like have a little bit more um like eyebrows and things like that. It made them a little bit more cautious or a little bit more skeptical about the nature of his interactions with this friend, right? So I'm trying to, oh man, see, going to doing Twitter on your computer is like man crazy. Hold on 1 second. If I can find this joint. Oh, nope. Shit. Oh. It's in this thread. It's in this thread. I believe it's. Oh, here we go. 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 Let's go back to yeah, let's go back to this video here. All right. Yeah, let's go back here. So let's see the full response from this woman, right? And then we can kind of talk about that.
A female friend dinner at his place.
Hey, so I'm the female friend in question, and I just wanted to clear up a few things. So, for one, we're strictly platonic. So, all these comments about us doing stuff with each other and that I'm his girlfriend, that's not happening. And for two, we're also both really into cooking. So, when he had asked, like, hey, do you want to cook this, that, and the third, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Went over there, we cooked the food, and I'm into aesthetically pleasing photos, so he helped do all the plating and stuff. So it's not like I went over there and he cooked the food for me. We both were cooking. But yeah, here's the charcuterie board that I made. It was hard, so I see why girls be charging an arm and a leg to do it. Then this was like the mushroom prep for the toast. And here's the toast. But yeah, the food was bomb, and it was a collaborative effort. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. Men and women can be friends. Peace out.
A female friend.
All right, here this let's stop playing right now. All right. So so her video, so this was the excuse that a lot of people had, like, oh, what if he's into cooking? What if he's a chef? What if he does this? What if he does that? Let's think about this, y'all, for a second. The fact that they are friends, right? And you know, we can call this platonic, right? We can call this platonic. Cooking with somebody, cooking with a female, bro. And I seen somebody say, yo, cooking a dinner with a woman, you know, counts as a body. Like, yo, cooking with a woman is one of the most intimate things that you could do with that woman. Like that is intimate. Like, now, granted, if y'all were doing something for class, then y'all doing something for class, right? But like, you know, and then but the message where the D for dessert and things like that, like he's talking about the joke out of context. Like, what other context is there? Like, you told me that you made this for a friend, and then you said something about D for dessert. Like, it's making things confusing. But cooking with a man, that don't automatically, like, here's the thing, that's not a ironclad alibi. Like, that doesn't make things necessarily better. It might make the situation worse, because a lot of us feel that, like, yo, you only gonna cook with your woman, or a man cooking for a woman. That's even deeper than a woman cooking for a man, right? So a man cooking for a woman, like you only doing that, and you only giving that much attention to detail for somebody that you care about, right? And you are allowed to care about your female friends, but when you doing that in such a close proximity of when you're doing that in such a close proximity of you trying to date somebody, you're gonna rub people the wrong way. You are gonna raise some red flags. Like, it's not gonna make people, it's not gonna make a woman comfortable that you're doing that. Like, so I think as men, man, sometimes we gotta read the room, but clearly they got some. I think it's clear that they got something going on. Like I don't think you can't really convince me otherwise, right? And then here's the thing, the friend, she was talking about how, this is what the friend said. She said that they were platonic, right? But in her comments, she said, "Oh, and they've only been talking for 2 weeks." So I feel like that comment alone kind of negates the fact that it was platonic, and negates the fact that it was just cooking, because there's no reason for you to mention that he was only talking to that woman for 2 weeks. What you're saying is this. You're saying, man, I like, you're denying something happened, right? But then you're saying, like, man, what is she pressed for? Like, she's pressed for no reason, because, you know, she only been talking to him for a short amount of time. You know, don't nobody want him, or she's saying, you know, she's basically implying that, like she's pressed about something, and if you're a platonic friend, you wouldn't talk like that. You would just talk like, hey, you would try to emphasize the fact that, like, hey, I am really just his friend. You would be apologetic. You would almost be apologetic, right? You would say, like, yo, I don't want no signals to get crossed. I can you would even empathize a little bit, and you would say, I can see how that looks away, but no, there's definitely nothing going on. You wouldn't add, man, they only been, and you almost like suck your teeth when you say, like, man, they only been talking for 2 weeks. that should not matter. Like that's not because that's none of your as a platonic friend, that's none of your business what this man is doing, who he's talking to, and things like that. Like you're allowed to be abreast and privy to his love life if he wants to share that with you. But the fact that you put some sauce on it and say they was only talking for 2 weeks, what does that matter? Like, yeah, she saw something that did not make her comfortable. I mean, she don't feel like this guy has boundaries. And then there was another exchange where he was saying like, "Oh, it sucks, man. I wish you would let me correct this situation." But my thing is this: when you don't have something established, the other person does not get the benefit of self-correction. Like you're allowed to cut somebody off. Now, if you've been with somebody, talking to somebody, had a relationship with somebody, and they do something that you don't really like, yes, they get the benefit of like getting the change and self-correcting so they can be a better person for you. But like if you just like, you know, kind of brand new, that's just the breaks. Like it's unfortunate. Like, yeah, you're brand new, we ain't been talking that long, and you might be a great person, but like I ain't got time to sit here and wait for you to kind of change your ways, because I don't want you to change your ways. I want you to be you, but you is not really who I want. You is, you're making me uncomfortable, and there are, and like she said, there are women that will be cool with that. So why don't you just kind of try to find a woman that's cool with that. So I don't think she's wrong, man. I don't think she's wrong. And I think, man, we like I get it, man. I get it. There's a lot of things that we're not allowed to do, but like cooking, multi-course meals with your female friends is probably not something that you want to lead with, right? Like, and if you are into cooking, right? What I mean? Like cook for larger groups of people, right? So you don't make women uncomfortable. But again, she saw something she ain't like, and it's her prerogative to like let it go, right? She don't gotta stay in that situation. But what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think? Was she tripping? Was she tripping, or did she see a red flag that just didn't sit well with her, right? All right, and then last thing, we're gonna get into some football. I'm gonna into some football. So last week was the divisional round playoffs, and we had some good games. But like let's preview the games for this weekend. Let's make some predictions on what we think how these games are going to look, and then we could kind of talk about how these teams got here. So the first game, well, one of the games that we have this weekend is going to be Baltimore versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So both of these teams, man, have been battle tested. The Ravens have been on top of their game all season. Like they've been on top of their game all season. Their defense is kind of firing at all cylinders. I believe they're the number one defense. The Chiefs, they are a team that has some stumbles out the gate. They lost, like my Packers beat the Chiefs. In a tight game, but my Packers beat the Chiefs, and they've been kind of up and down. They haven't been so being the defending Super Bowl champions. They haven't always looked like the Super Bowl champions. One thing that we know though is that the personnel has changed on offense. So they don't have some of those receivers that they had last year in the Super Bowl. They still have Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce looks like he's distracted. He got this whole, Taylor Swift media storm on his back. And he's also wrestled with this idea of maybe retiring. We seen him even sit out of a game where he could have set a record. And he sat out the game. So the motivation, it doesn't seem like it's always there. They lost to some teams that they shouldn't have lost to, a lot of people would argue. And so the fact that they've kind of like turned it on in the playoffs has been something to see. Now this is a marquee matchup. Lamar Jackson is likely going to be the league's MVP. And Lamar, so how we get here is last week against the Texans, the upstart Texans, it was a tight game in the first half. It was 10-10. Now, a lot of people would say like, it wasn't that tight because the Texans, their only touchdown came from special teams. Like it was like a punt return punt return or kick return, touchdown. So like that, some people take that with a grain of salt. That's like, oh, well, the offense didn't do anything, right? But then in the second half, the Ravens just kind of blew it wide open. And we see that like this is Lamar Jackson has this ability to like truly take over a game. And with some quarterbacks, we see that like Mahomes we feel like he can take over a game, but like we've seen this year where he's had some wide receiver struggles that like it don't matter how good he throws and things like that. Like it still depends on the other guy catching the ball. So like Patrick Mahomes is even limited to an extent. Lamar Jackson can literally take over the game, like because in the open field, it don't matter. Your best defender is not your best defender is not tackling him in the open field. Like you're just not. You're just not. So and it's funny because if we had to go back, because in the beginning of the season, prior to the season started, me and Jabbar Harris was talking about quarterbacks that deserve contracts, um, deserve their money, and I had Lamar Jackson a little bit low because I figured that he was gonna get hurt. I had a feeling that he was gonna get hurt, but then as he got his money, and he's balled. He was of those four quarterbacks that got paid last summer, like big money, which was Herbert, Hurts, Burrow, and then Jackson. Jackson has definitely he is number one. He's number one. He's played the hardest, and then it makes you think that like, yo, last year, he did get hurt, but like, was he hurt? Was he just not motivated because he's like, yo, man, y'all got to pay me? Shout out to him though, because even if that was the case, shout out to him for getting a check, right? And just instilling in his franchise that like yo, I might not have been playing my best last year, but I promise you, if you pay me, I'm gonna be worth every dollar. And Lamar Jackson has been worth every dollar. He's making stars out of some of these guys, right? Without Mark Andrews, they got Isaiah Likely, and he's been stepping up and he's been doing his thing. Um, you got Zay Flowers who has emerged. They got like a bunch of running backs. Like it doesn't you don't know who's gonna be running the ball on their team, but they got a stable of running backs that can just make plays. And then you have to worry about Jackson's ability to run, and it's hard to stop. On the other side, you got Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes hits his sixth season as a starter, six straight AFC championship games. Like this is like some LeBron level play. Like he's definitely like he's getting into conversations that you wouldn't think that he would be in, right? Like if we're talking about like he's getting into all-time great conversations because Patrick Mahomes got a lot left in the tank. Like he's young. He's young. We're talking about 6 years as a starter. He only sat down 1 year. So it's his seventh year in the league, and he's trying to get his third Super Bowl. This man has been in the Super Bowl three times, right? He's 2-1 in the Super Bowl, but he's always in the AFC Championship game. And like there's some people people don't like him because he's so good, and that's just what happens. Like when you're good, people are gonna like kind of throw shade and want to see your downfall. And he's exceeding expectations. He has probably one of the best coaches, like top two, top three coaches in the league. And Andy Reid is forever now with a guy like Patrick Mahomes. He's forever cementing his legacy as one of the greatest ever. And yeah, man, I'm happy to see it. What do I predict? Um, I do want the Ravens to win. I think it's gonna be 24-21 Ravens. 24-21 Ravens. I think it's gonna come down to a Justin Tucker field goal. I think Justin Tucker's gonna win them the game. I think Jackson's gonna just get him in a position to where he gotta be. I think it's gonna be hard fall. I think Lamar Jackson's gonna make some mistakes. I think he's gonna make some mistakes, but I think he's gonna overcome those mistakes. And the running game and his ability to improvise is just gonna be too much, right? So I say 24-21 Ravens. And this is it's funny because talking about Patrick Mahomes real quick. Last week was the first time he played an away game in the playoffs, right? So think about that. If you've been to the playoffs 6 straight years, been in the AFC Championship 6 straight years, we talking about, at least like 10 to 12 games of him playing home games, and like he's never had to play away. So I think it's gonna be a good fight, and the Chiefs are gonna rise to the occasion, but it's just not gonna be enough. I think Lamar is just doing too much. And then we on the other side, on the NFC, we got the Detroit Lions and we got the San Francisco 49ers. Now, San Francisco has been a budding team where in the last several years they just been strong. They've been a strong team. They went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and they've had like a revolving door of quarterbacks. It seems like they have the quarterback that they love and they like, and they got a ton of weapons, man. You got Brandon Ayuk, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got George Kittle, and you got Debo Samuel. And just like I didn't talk about the Ravens toughness, but like the 49ers are like just the toughest team in football. Like there's only a couple teams that have that like true tough persona and mentality. And like I would say the Ravens are falling that, 49ers are into that, and Steelers in general. Like they're just, it don't matter who, like they have a culture. They have a culture of toughness. And San Fran is always like they're just always tough, like on both sides of the ball. And they're just stacked with players. They're stacked with like athletes, you know. And I think it is kind of like their time to kind of get over the hump, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. And we're gonna get into how they got there, and then we got the Detroit Lions. Like although I'm a Packers fan, and they're in our division, and we had a chance to be playing in this game. um you can't be nothing but happy for the Lions, because like the Lions, if the Lions will go away, that's like no harm, no foul. Like it's like that's like a bonus for the league. If you get the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl, that's like a bonus, because it's like, they might not ever get back. They're not probably gonna be a team that's like a dynasty or anything like that, but it's a bright spot for the league, because it's like, wow, you know what I mean, to come from where they came from. They've had 0-16 seasons. You know what I mean? They've had 1-15 seasons. They've had some of the greatest players ever on offense that probably retired early because of the state of the team. And then for them to kind of to get this coach and to kind of overcome, it's an amazing thing to see. So like going back to the 49ers though, I think the 49ers are really good, and I talked about their toughness, but like last week when they played the Packers, of course, the Packers had a chance to win that game. The Packers had, they took control of that game probably from the second quarter through the third, and then they had four bad drives at the end. But I would say this, although San Fran is really good, they showed me that they're not really like that. Like, and I think that you can fluster Brock Purdy. I think you can make him make some mistakes. He obviously can't play in the rain. Like it was a wet ball. He looks like a little guy, so he might got little hands or something like that. And Debo did go out, but they still have a ton of weapons. And they made the plays that they needed to. There were times where the Packers, they didn't make the plays that they needed to. And it was unfortunate to see. Like there was a couple times where like Savage could have had like a pick six or two in that game. Mixon, I think he came close to an interception. So like the Packers just did not capitalize on the opportunities that they had. But I'm proud of the Packers because they exceeded all expectations. But San Fran, if you run the ball on them, right? If you and if you're successful at running the ball, which the Packers, that was the first time in like 51 games that the San Francisco 49ers gave up a 100-yard rusher. And then that was a game where it just looked like the other team had control, and that's what it was, right? So the Lions have a great running game, right? They have two guys that, touched 1,000 or were close to 1,000, right? So if the Lions pound that ball, create some play action opportunities and get the ball to Amon Ra or Jameson Williams or Laporta, like because they have weapons. They got weapons. They got two good running backs. They got an elite receiver. They got an elite rookie tight end, and then they got a nice secondary receiver that can make some plays. If they run the ball, they can really get ahead of these guys and win this game. So um predictions. I say because like I said, San Francisco, they got a tough defense. Um, I think I think it's gonna, but yeah, they got a tough defense, but I think Detroit's gonna surprise them a little bit. I say the final score of this game is gonna be, I think we got 27-20. 27-20 Lions. I think the Lions win by touchdown. I'm predict. I want the Lions to win. Even though that is the marquee matchup, San Fran and the Ravens. I think I want to see the Lions kind of prevail. And this is kind of blasphemy because I'm a Packers fan, but yeah, I want to see the Lions, man. I want to see the Lions. And then the Lions would, and just say they play the Ravens in the Super Bowl. The Lions have to, like, they got blown out by the Ravens. So like really they can throw that whole game plan away and like they get to start fresh. The Ravens would go into the Super Bowl like with super confidence, and then I think the Lions just would have the ability to kind of like, they can show them things that they never seen before, because you can't, if you blow a team out in the NFL, you can't guarantee that you're gonna do that twice. But yes, I think the Lions win 27-20. I think the Lions have a better defense than the Packers. So I think and they got some really, really good playmakers. So I think the playmakers on the Lions are gonna make some splash plays. You got Hutch, you got CJ Gardner Johnson. I think they're gonna make some splash plays that cause some turnovers and that give guys like Brock Purdy, it's going to give guys like that some fits. But I think this 49ers are going to get this shit off, but it's just not going to. I think the Lions can do it. And I don't want to say the 49ers got exposed, but I think the 49ers, I think people are looking at them now, which it's their job to kind of debunk that narrative, but I think people are looking at them as vulnerable. Like they have some vulnerabilities, even though they didn't look like it. When they played the Ravens, it's crazy. Everybody made excuses for the 49ers. They say, "Oh, well, it's, yeah, I mean, because of tip passes, but like look at the yards and stuff like that." Well, yeah, tip passes, that's a part of the game. Like, of course, like that's what you're supposed to do. Like that's what you're supposed to do, as like they was giving Brock Purdy a pat. They was like, "Oh, well, his interceptions were tip passes." So, like that's called playing defense. Like that's what I'm supposed to do on defense. I'm supposed to tip the pass and I'm supposed to take it away. So, I think, yeah, that's what I see. I see, and so I want to see a Ravens, a Detroit, Baltimore, and man, talk about hard nosed cities, man. Talk about some of the, whew, those are some tough cities, man. You know what I mean? Down in the dumps kind of cities as well. But yeah, Baltimore, Detroit Super Bowl would be dope to me. I mean, Baltimore, San Francisco, that is the marquee matchup. But I'm not, if the Chiefs surprise them, if it's a Chiefs Lions Super Bowl, that'd be crazy as well. But yeah, 27-20 for the Lions, and was it 24? Did I say 24-21? Yeah, 24-21 Ravens over the Chiefs. All right. So we're about to wrap this up. We seen one big coach leaves college, and he's now back in the NFL, and that is Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh's brother. He is going to the LA Chargers. Wow, wow. So like, yo, the Chargers, man, they always have talent. They always have really good players. They have good players on both sides of the ball. They got good defensive stars. They have good offensive stars. And I think that Harbaugh really can light a fire under them, and I think they can make some noise next year. And I think it's cool that he decided to go to an AFC team, even though, like, the idea of like the Harbaugh Bowl is dope, like because we had that before. Although that's a dope idea, I think it's kind of cooler for like the brothers to be in the same conference, and then they could actually beat each other. They could meet each other twice in a season. They could play a regular season game, and then they could see each other in the postseason. So I think that's dope. I can't wait to see what he does with the Chargers, because again, we've seen they have a lot of talent, and they were not able to kind of get over the hump. And I think Jim Harbaugh is gonna be the catalyst for that. One last thing about the Packers. Again, although that was a tough loss, although Jordan Love's last throw, I didn't, when I seen that, right, when he threw that pick on that last drive, I was like, damn, like we really had a chance to win the game. We had a chance to tie the game up. Like we had a chance. That last throw, I didn't want that to be a narrative changing like type of incident, right? Like I want him to be able to shake that off. I don't think that mistake does not define what they did this season. They exceeded all expectations, right? So the fact that they went toe to toe with the toughest team in the NFC like that, and made the toughest team in the NFC not look that tough. Hats off to them. I think there's some criticism on Matt LaFleur that I think is undeserved, talking about, oh, he didn't show up for a big game. Well, wasn't the Cowboys game a big game? Wasn't all those games that led up to us, where we had to win to get to the playoffs, weren't those also big games? So like, I don't want to hear nothing about he can't coach big games. They fired the defensive coordinator. I want to see them. I need a name, man. I want to see a splash. I don't want to see some. And the only upstart guy, you can be an upstart guy, but you got to be like a upstart with a name. So a lot of people, a lot of Packer fans, they want a coach from Wisconsin. I think he's a D coordinator for over there, Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard was a safety in the NFL. Like he was, a white safety. It's crazy. Like a white guy playing safety is wild. You got a couple, but um, but yeah. So a lot of people want him to be the coach. There's some names out there, man. I would love to see like Al Harris. I would love to see um shit. Dan Quinn could come over. Like Dan Quinn is good, even though we lit him up. Dan Quinn could come over here, but I know he's probably gonna get a head coaching job, maybe not deserved, but. Um, yeah, that's that. But yeah, so the future is bright. Jordan Love, he did what I needed him to do. He proved that he can be a starting quarterback in this league, and he proved that he can be the Packers quarterback moving forward. So I think the future is bright, man. We got some young talent in the receiving core. We still got Aaron Jones for another year. We got some playmakers on defense, and I'm excited for next year. I think Lions will be the front runners, but I think we'll compete with the Lions to take back that division. So, but yeah, man, leave a comment. What you think about this week's episode? What you think about can men and women be friends? Can they be friends? I'm sure they can be friends, but like, was homeboy crossing some lines there? The rappers that fell off, what do you think about that list? Do you think there's anybody else that needs to be on that list? And then the people that they unleashing into the world, man, maybe they wasn't in the same classes as you, and for a reason. What do you think about that? And then just everything that we talked about with the NFL and the playoffs, chime in, man. Talk your shit if you got some shit to talk. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Let's get to 2,000. Let's get to 2,000 quicker than we got to 1,000. Like let's make that the goal. So this is another episode of the 280 Plus podcast, y'all. I'm out. Peace.